Unsolved.
JonBenet Ramsey case? Case solved. Burke was upset. JonBenet received so much attention. Patsy was exhausted from a long Christmas day. Burke was upset. So much money was spent on JonBenet. Patsy was fit to be tied, that JonBenet was still up. Burke was troubled by JonBenet always getting her way. Patsy broke out into a rage and fractured JonBenet's skull. On the way home, JonBenet had fallen fast asleep in the back seat. I got her out of the car, carried her upstairs to her room, laid her on the bed, and took off her coat and shoes. I was amazed at how sound asleep she was. It had been a long day for her. Patsy came in to finish getting JonBenet ready for bed. I went downstairs to try and get Burke to come up to bed, but he was deeply involved in assembling the miniature parking garage he had received that morning. I could tell he wasn't going to go to bed until the project was finished, so I settled down on the floor beside him.
And I think your dad had said he used the flashlight that night to put you to bed, and then you snuck downstairs to play.
Yeah, I had some toy that I wanted to put together. I remember being downstairs after everyone was kind of in bed and wanting to get this thing out.
Did you use the flashlight so you wouldn't be seen?
I don't remember.
So I settled down on the floor beside him.
I remember being downstairs after everyone was kind of in bed.
And I think your dad had said he used the flashlight that night to put you to bed.
I could tell he wasn't going to bed until the project was finished, so I settled down on the floor beside him.
I remember being downstairs after everyone was kind of in bed.
And I think your dad had said he used the flashlight that night to put you to bed.
This wasn't in their book. There's nothing in there about John and his flashlight. There's nothing about Burke sneaking downstairs. Burke said that he was alone playing with the toy. Was John Ramsey upstairs getting ready for bed, and he heard Burke, and he went down there and was very angry? John seems to be covering up something here. John Ramsey was upset that Burke got up that night. And then after Burke was put to bed a second time, JonBenet got up, and that threw him into a rage, and he probably struck JonBenet in the head with the flashlight, intentionally or by mistake. And he took her down to the basement and made the garrote and strangled her because she was still barely alive. And he lied to the police about the window being open, and he led Fleet White down to the basement to show him the broken window, and he discovered her body in the afternoon. The assumption is Burke was jealous of JonBenet, and Patsy couldn't control her anger and struck out physically against JonBenet. But the truth might be that John was upset JonBenet received so much attention, and John was exhausted from a long Christmas day, and John was bothered that so much money was spent on JonBenet, and John was fit to be tied that JonBenet was still up, and John was troubled that JonBenet was always getting her way, and John broke out into a rage and fractured JonBenet's skull. Please subscribe if you like the content of this channel. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and next week I will do the Did Burke Know episode. And tomorrow night, the Zodiac Killer case. See ya.
And I think your dad had said he used the flashlight that night to put you to bed.